All right, we are live. So welcome back to DApp University. So today I'm going to talk about a small sector of crypto that's likely to have a very big impact in the coming months and years. And frankly, I think that this is set to explode. And we're going to talk about that in this video and what you need to pay attention to. Okay, we're going to look at that. We're going to look at a lot of the news updates that have happened in this space since yesterday. Again, we do these live streams Monday through Friday on this channel. Just turn on notifications, find out about those whenever we go live. We're starting a little bit later today than I normally do. We're going to answer some of your questions and a lot more. So if you're new around here, hey, I'm Gregory, and on this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's something that you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to know how to master blockchain step-by-step start to finish, then head on over to dappuniversity.com/bootcamp to get started today. All right, we got people jumping in the chat here. We got Culture Highs. We got Ethan, Joseph, David Stone, I am Jadine, Automatic Beats. Let's see here. Machiavelli, Super Leon. Hope I'm saying that right. Patrick, Paul, welcome. All right, so let's jump into this. Let's talk about a really tiny sector of Web 3.0, the entire crypto space that is going to explode. All right, and talk about some news updates that have come out in the past couple of days that reflect this. All right, and also just some other metrics and stats that you need to pay attention to, because if you're trying to figure out, hey, where's all this technology headed? Like if you're trying to position yourself in terms of your career, or just to be successful in the crypto space, and you got to keep your ear to the ground and kind of figure out where the technology is going to go. That's exactly one of the primary things I try to teach you to do on this channel. So, let's talk about, before we get into all the details, let's talk about one of the biggest problems with blockchain, so that you understand this with like a problem solution sort of framework. We have one of the biggest complaints about blockchain is not scalable, right? If we want blockchain to actually reach millions and, well, not millions, but billions and billions of people, right, to actually be adopted to this very similar level to the internet and how it's used now, we have to be able to support lots and lots of people. And as they exist right now, most blockchains can't really do that. And so one of the biggest solutions to that is to build blockchains in layers, okay, where you have like one layer that's responsible for this, one layer is responsible for that, and then you can use all these things together, and that's like a decentralized stack. And so that's sort of the future and the philosophy of the Ethereum ecosystem in particular, around like layer 2 scaling solutions. And we're seeing, I think my stream is freezing here. Sorry, everybody. Looks like I had a little bit of a freezing issue on my live stream. Anyways, so that's kind of the ethos of the Ethereum ecosystem, is to build this in these layers to get that benefit where you can make it really fast. And that, those environments that where you build the second layer where you can do a lot of transactions is called the Ethereum layer 2 ecosystem. And we're starting to see some significant metrics that you have to pay attention to in the Ethereum ecosystem. So first of all, I want to show this. I got my co-host Walshy on the screen here. So if you guys got anything you want to talk about today, or not today, it's silly, but in the future, then definitely ping Walshy on Twitter. You can see his Twitter handle down there. But there are lots of different layer 2 scaling solutions out there that are starting to hit the scene. Over time, we're going to see which ones gain market adoption. But one in particular that is, really growing fast and is exploding in terms of what you can do with it is the zkSync ecosystem. Okay, so you can see like all the projects that are starting to, become supported on here. In order for a network to be viable, you have to have a lot of different things that you can do on it, right? That's the value of a network effect. So for example, like if you want to go use, if a new social network app came out, right? Like, and you go use that social network app, it doesn't make it's not any good if it doesn't have other people you can be friends with and like talk to and follow and do all that type of stuff. It's the same thing for a blockchain. And so whenever you build these new blockchain environments, let's say it's layer 2 on top of Ethereum, you don't automatically just like get a copy of all the apps that are on Ethereum and you can start using them, right? Like you have to move to that second layer, and you have to have a new ecosystem actually flourish in that second layer, but then it uses the main Ethereum chain as like security, and it builds off of that. And so we're starting to see that network effect really take off for environments like this. Okay. Another big thing in terms of just like, we can actually look at some hard numbers here in a minute and some actual data, but another kind of just point to look at in this is how are other people making big financial bets on this space absolutely exploding? Okay, so we did see this come out where Ethereum layer 2 developer Starkware is looking to triple its valuation to $6 billion. Okay, the 4-year-old crypto startup reported raising at least $100 million in its latest funding rounds. $100 million. Okay, for a $6 billion valuation. Just for magnitude, sometimes like the brain has a way of doing this where like after you get past a certain magnitude, like you stop thinking about the difference in size. So like, for example, most people don't think about the difference in size between, you know, like 10 million and 20 million. It's double, like it's an extra $10 million. So same type of thing here. Like 10 million is just such a large number to so many people that they don't think about. Like 10 million and 20 million are basically the same. Now you could like argue maybe what the utility value of 10 million versus 20 million is if you're talking about dollars, but like people just kind of check out when thinking about the magnitude. But forget a billion is $1,000 million. Okay, $1,000 million. And 6 billion is $6,000 million. That's insane. All right. So that's what people are valuing, you know, just independent scaling solutions at within the ecosystem. And honestly, Starkware, just a little tiny piece of the puzzle for that entire ecosystem. Okay. So that's not a diss on Starkware or anything. I'm just saying that, like, you know, that piece alone, that's what we're valuing these things at. And we're seeing these types of ecosystems, you know, pop up and flourish. And there's some different ones that we can kind of get into maybe here in a minute. But I want to look at a thread here that kind of highlights the data and like where this, you know, is headed that I think pretty well supports, you know, what I'm talking about here in this video. So let's pull up this thread that came out. This is what Walshy found. I think actually my son seen this too, but he added it to our stream board this morning. So basically, L2s are probably the most important part of Ethereum scaling over the next 12 to 24 months. So even more than the merge. So if you're not sure what that is, the merge is basically Ethereum moving to proof of stake. Very likely within the coming months. I've actually got a video update talking about the Ethereum 2.0 merge and when I think it's going to happen. So I'm not going to tell you on this live stream. I'm going to make you subscribe to the channel. Find out that video whenever it goes live. Basically what he's saying is layer 2's more important than the merge. And also that's something that's really important people understand. Is a lot of times people think, hey, we have to wait for Ethereum 2.0 to get here in order to fix like Ethereum's gas fees, make it faster and cheaper to use. That's not true. We can do that now with layer 2 scaling solutions. The merge is not going to fix that. The merge is just going to make Ethereum proof of stake. It will make ETH most likely deflationary, assuming that network activity at least stays the same as it is now. We could talk about that later in the stream if you want to. But that's the big event. But anyways, we're saying L2s is more important than the merge for Ethereum adoption. So L2 growth has been pretty tremendous over the last 12 months, growing 100x from 50 million in January 21 to approximately 5.5 billion today. So basically, while looking like TVL has dipped a little bit in USD terms, TVL in ETH terms is close to all-time highs. So that's an important thing to understand. I can show you a website here in a minute where you can track, layer 2 adoption. One of the biggest metrics people use is TVL, or total value locked. So basically, it just means the total value of all the cryptocurrencies that are on the network. And I think that most people measure TVL from layer 2s with bridges, most likely. Like they probably look at like the entry points and then figure out like what the TVLs. I'm not sure 100% sure how everybody calculates all their TVLs. Different websites might do it differently, but TVL is not a perfect metric necessarily. It just shows you how much money is using it. You could use other metrics like, number of active wallets, number of transactions per day. No metric is perfect. You kind of need a multifaceted picture to try to see, what's happening. But TVL is a good starting point. So one of the biggest flaws with TVL is that a lot of people look at TVL in terms of US dollar terms. So if you look at the amount of US dollars sitting on a layer 2 scaling solution, well, they got a big problem, which is cryptocurrency prices are volatile. And so when number go up, TVL goes up, and when number go down, TVL goes down. But you can look at it in ETH terms, okay? So that's a little bit better. So like, especially for Ethereum scaling, basically in ETH terms, if the amount assets denominated in ETH are pretty close to all-time highs. Okay, and you could even say that some of this, if we're talking about total value locked in ETH, if this is counting tokens as well, that a lot of the token valuations have bled against ETH. Okay, so basically, like if you measure their price against the Ethereum price, that has gone down, and so like in terms of actual adoption, we very well may be at all-time high, depending on how this metric is calculated. Just using some literacy in the data, that trend, in my opinion, is still up and to the right, okay, in terms of adoption, which is also pretty impressive given what's happened in the crypto space right now. As you know, prices have gone down. We see a lot of stuff suffers whenever that goes down. Attention suffers. Like people stop watching these live streams. People stop watching the YouTube videos. People, just anybody who does anything in crypto, stuff goes down, right? But what we're seeing here is that we have a pretty hardcore set of users in the blockchain space that are continuing to adopt, this particular technology, and it has quite a bit of potential to extend well in the user base. So L2s are consuming a little bit under 1% of ETH gas on average with the upgrades from Optimism Arbitrum. Like call data compression, this chart may go down the short term. Nitro was launched recently, Optimism upgrade. So basically, some of these layer 2s are actually become more gas efficient, meaning that they can be cheaper to use. Okay. Call data compression may call Ethereum layer 2 gas usage to go down in the short term. That's what I was saying, basically. We can read more about that here. I'll put a link to this tweet thread, okay, in the live chat replay. I'm not going to read every single thing in here, but if you want to read more, some of the details that are in here, you can look at that. Yeah, people say people don't like watching their numbers go down. Yeah, totally. I'm not blaming anybody. Sometimes I would love to just like turn off the Twitters and not look at anything, but I'm here giving you all these updates every day. I want to make sure that you're part of the space. So I'm here, rain or shine. But I get a lot of people's desire not to even think about crypto when prices go down. Anyway, so for rollups to achieve scale and product market fit, that's what PMF stands for, I would expect L1 gas users to be more like 10 to 50% and higher. What does the Ethereum ecosystem need us to get there? So we can see some things that we needed. So bridges, basically, dApps and infrastructure also important. That's what I'm talking about from the infrastructure perspective and network effect. All right, we're getting there. UX around bridges needs to get better. So last thing is this thread is mainly focused on optimistic rollups because they are the most widely available and accessible rollups today, but ZK rollups are quickly gaining steam too. And that's what I was talking about a minute ago. Is we have the ZK rollups ecosystem with zkSync quickly gaining steam. All right, watch out for Starkware and zkSync in this category. That's exactly what I was just talking about. Starkware be doing a huge raise. zkSync network effect in terms of what we're talking about here, really ramping up. So the main points are layer 2s are getting cheaper. That's good because people want cheap transactions. Bridges are getting better. Scaling is more important now than the merge, making Ethereum accessible to everybody else. And layer 2 improvements create a flywheel where more usage means lower fees. That's actually a pretty important thing to understand, because most people don't understand that. Is like the more they get used, the cheaper they become. Part of that's because of how transactions are batched up. So let me know what y'all think down in the comment section below. I've done some videos on how to use layer 2s. If that's something that you're interested in to see more of, you can definitely let me know. Have you all been using any layer 2s? If so, what have you tried? What did you like? What did you not like? Post a comment down in the live chat here.
I've used a couple of them so far, just moving transactions back and forth. They all have their unique properties to them. On Arbitrum, right, there's like Treasure DAO and things of that nature. It's where a lot of action is. On Optimism, they have entire ecosystems being built on them, kind of like Lyra, Quenta, the Synthetics kind of ecosystem. zkSync, of course, with its unique snark properties, just being a zk rollup in general, is interesting. It's why we're covering it. Again, they have a huge grant going out, guys. If you're a developer, you want to make some money, you want to build for an open source network, zkSync has that for you. But what's cool with the zkSync like wallet is you can even mint like NFTs through it. So that's pretty interesting. Of course, Starkware isn't out yet, but it's getting lots of attention. They've acquired like some really great partnerships with like MutableX, DYDX, and others. And there's even more coming out too, such as like Celestia and Metis rather.
Yeah, totally. And if you want to track what's going on with the Ethereum Layer 2's ecosystem, I pulled this site up multiple times on my streams, but there's always new people watching these, and so to make sure you've got the tools to keep track of this yourself. But you can check out l2beat.com. Okay. We talked about TVL earlier in the stream as a way of tracking what's going on with the layer 2 space. Okay. And you can see what's going on with TVL over time here. Again, this is the denominated in US dollars. So like I was saying, when crypto prices go down, you see TVL go down. But if you look at ETH prices, right, we're pretty close to all-time high. And like I was saying before, if this TVL actually includes like tokens like DeFi tokens or any like non-ETH cryptocurrencies, that we may very well be at all-time high, because likely a lot of those valuations have bled against ETH itself. Okay, so I'd love to see more metrics on this, like active wallets, but that is a notoriously hard problem to calculate with blockchains. Okay, it's not like you can just turn on a node and say, hey, how many active users have you got on it? It requires a lot of work to pull in all that information, and you have to do that for each layer 2, and you have to do a ton of insane calculations. So I'm not criticizing somebody for not putting this on a free website. It's just I would personally love to see it. So if somebody knows a resource on how to do that for all these layer 2s, and definitely keep us noted.
I've been scouring the chat, and once again, awesome questions, everybody. I love our community. Everyone's nice and frothy right now, having fun. But I've been scouring the chat for any kind of questions around like L2s. There aren't too many. There is one. Dan Breland, apologize. I think it's Brylan. So what's the symbol for zkSync? So he's wondering if there's a token.
There is no knowledge. There is no zkSync token at this time. So that's a great question. So part of it is one of the things that makes layer 2s unique is that you pay the fees in ETH. So like when you go up to a layer 2, like ETH is the currency that you're using on that network. And one of the reasons I'm so bullish on the Ethereum space long term is because you have that capability. And so the value of ETH itself, again, it's not financial advice for like buying ETH, but it's one of the reasons that's one of my main holdings, or is my main holding, is basically because it's got so much utility and so much network effect. I mean, you've got the largest developer community by a country mile. Okay, you've got an asset that's going to be deflationary after the merge. We'll talk about that. We've got an asset that you can stake for passive income reward, and you've got an asset that can be used on layer 2s in this new scaling paradigm, and is the thing that you need to pay the gas fees for all this. It's also the most incredibly neutral and decentralized infrastructure for creating smart contracts, which over the long term is going to matter if you're talking about big blockchain solutions being built for global settlements. Okay. Retail traders who are speculating on DeFi tokens and NFTs, they don't care. Okay. Like I totally get that. If I say, does decentralization matter? Like in one sense, you're right. Like in one sense, the end user who's kind of like just gambling doesn't care that much about decentralization because they're already taking high risk bets anyway. If we're talking about the long-term vision of blockchains, let's say settling big intellectual property rights, stuff like that, it's going to matter. Okay. And so those are the reasons that I'm pretty bullish on the space. And one of the biggest objections people have about that is like, hey, well, the gas fees, like all this stuff. Well, that problem is going to get a lot better with this. Anyways, but that being said, I'm not saying that none of these layer 2s are going to have I'm not saying that in the future there will not be tokens. All right. And honestly, I don't keep track of every single layer 2 on this list. Like some of these are even lesser known to me. So some of them might have tokens associated with them that are work function in their ecosystem in some way. So don't quote me as saying like no layer 2s have tokens. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying is to my knowledge, the vast majority of all these that you pay the fees in ETH, and there's not a token at this time built in the ecosystem that's an integral part of the user using the token. Okay, but that doesn't mean that can't change in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's a great answer. I love Anthony Cesano, who's a great YouTuber, stays close to the ecosystem, and he actually put out a thought piece, just part of his daily newsletter, talking about tokens in general, and how we've entered this kind of paradigm where everyone's basically just waiting for the token, and of course Web3 is tokens. That's what Web3 is. It's tokens. But he made a really interesting point that like the ones that get the most hype and the ones that get all the attention brought to them are the ones that inevitably are just dumb as soon as people acquire them, which inevitably could actually lead to this like snowball effect where the project ends up crashing, right? And he made a great point about how actually stealth tokens, like tokens that don't get a lot of hype, that don't get a lot of attraction or attention at first, might be really like the way to go, because at that point you don't have a community that's like just dumping it instantly trying to make some profit, but instead you have more of a community that if they got the stealth token or they got they got it, then they have more incentive to build upon that because they're not instantly trying to dump it. Want to add value to the system itself. So I thought that was a really interesting point, and I wholeheartedly agree as well. It has been announced that the L2 systems will have tokens, but I'm not like, I don't want any of these L2s to fail, right? In the end, like one will win, or a couple will win, but I don't want this to be a race to like token, and then as soon as a token's dropped, boom, like it just gets sold off, and then the project squanders. That's not what I'm hoping for this ecosystem whatsoever.
Yeah, totally. And what's gonna be interesting to see is like, I think honestly the better incentive here, because the whole model of like drop a token, it explodes, and then it goes through that hype cycle, right? Like, it sees this big pump and then like kind of dumps, and then it's on the floor for a long time, and then that's when those things kind of tend to gain, adoption is later. We see that lots of different projects. You can pull up any chart of any project that launched in 2020, kind of the same thing, like with airdrops, especially. I can see those types of things at the application layer really helping L2s because, that doesn't kill the network itself. People don't get delusioned about the network and what the token did as much as like the projects themselves. So like, I'm not saying like everybody needs to do that, but I'm saying it's going to happen. And those can be powerful incentives to seed L2 networks. But at the end of the day, those incentives just go back to the application creators, and probably what they're going to do is just hop from environment to environment and like keep doing that type of stuff. And that's still going to have the same kind of effect on L2s anyway, which is like, and that's not exclusive to L2s. That's happening with alternative L1s as well. Everything kind of goes to this hype cycle where it's like, we're the next hot thing, and then people go into it, and then it just sort of like pops off and then dies, and then their crypto kind of does the same thing. So it's sort of like because that's just the nature of short-term speculation, right? Short-term speculators are basically like ravenous wolves or vultures, right? They just come in and like demolish their prey and then move on to the next thing. Well, say and awesome. Do anything, and then just move on to the next one.
All right. Yeah. Just keep the rotator, right? As the meme goes. Yeah. Two people had a very similar question. This is a little broad, but I think it's perfect for you since you help people like this every day. India says, so much to learn, where to start. And then Stoyan asks, how do you start in DeFi, meaning creating solutions? Like, how do you understand problems?
Yeah, it's a good question. So where do you start? So if you're talking about getting in the space, becoming a blockchain master, the best way to just understand the breadth of the entire landscape is go to my YouTube homepage, look at the pinned video there, how to become a highly paid blockchain developer in 2022. That's going to tell you everything that you need to know, how to get started, what to do, the entire roadmap. Definitely go check that out. So the next question is, if you want to start building in DeFi, what was the question again? It's like how to understand the problems.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like, how do you create solutions? How do you understand problems?
Yeah. So I would basically, I would go look at I would look at what other people are doing first and kind of look at how they are solving the problems. And then really get your head around those and how they came up with the solution that uses blockchain. Because here's the thing, in order to be creative in a domain, when I say a domain, I mean like a field of knowledge, you have to acquire that domain knowledge for yourself. It's like you could be the smartest person on the face of the planet, but you don't understand how blockchains work and how the ecosystem works. Like you're not going to be an innovator, right? Because you don't have that, you don't have that really specific knowledge. And I think there's like an Einstein quote about this somewhere, where it kind of talks about like, the genius versus like the common man who just has this really simple like set of expertise. Like this person's knowledge is it's way more valuable than this person who's like is absolute genius. Like this guy doesn't even matter, he's basically an idiot compared to this guy in this respective area. So so much type of thing is with the DeFi, right, and blockchain. So like how do you acquire that knowledge? Well, if you want to acquire the coding skills, definitely go to exactly what I was talking about before, the video on the YouTube homepage. But if you want to, then apply that to how do you solve blockchain-based solutions or come up with a DeFi app, I would then go look at some existing applications of what have they done. So maybe some ones to check out would be like Uniswap. Okay, I would look at some of the really sort of OG DeFi projects. And ones that are kind of easier to understand in terms of their use cases. So one would be Uniswap, just how do you trade tokens in a decentralized way? And then the other one would be probably something like compound finance, okay, a really OG application in the space. It's a pretty simple use case. It's just savings and lending, all right? And then, Uniswap is just swapping. You probably want to do that before you get into really sophisticated stuff, like how are people doing options trading with DeFi, stuff that's a lot more kind of abstract. Okay, this stuff's already abstract enough when you're talking about simple use cases, but you don't want to add really the complexity of like options unless you're already a sophisticated options trader and understand the mechanics of that pretty well. You probably want to start with some pretty palatable use cases and then break those down. So what would some examples be? Well, just start to think about like your reverse engineering the problem. You go to Uniswap and you like see this website you click a button and then your MetaMask wallet pops up and you sign 2 different transactions and then tokens go out of your wallet and then you have new ones in your wallet. How did that happen? All right. Like try to actually trace every single like step in the chain about how that transaction occurred. And then just understand the process and then understand what every single piece in the process does. Okay. So you're going to have to understand about tokens. You're going to have to understand about token approvals, how token smart contracts work, how the Uniswap router smart contracts work, how an automated market maker works, how liquidity pools work, why automated market maker technology is such a groundbreaking technology for decentralized finance compared to order books and like outsourcing to market making firms and traditional finance. Like how did we get from here to here? And so understand the new stuff. How does it compare to the old stuff? And then, do that for Uniswap, do it for Compound, do it for more of this kind of simpler, air quotes, OG applications. And then you can start thinking about some more advanced, sophisticated stuff.
That was awesome. Yeah, absolutely great. Let your intellectual curiosity run wild. Ask questions. Try to figure it all out.
One thing you can do also, if you're trying to build something, and you want to actually like build something for real and get people to use it, is just like what you can do something that's dual purpose is if you document all that stuff, just share it with the community, teach it to other people. You'll solidify your knowledge faster. You will you'll also run into places where you don't understand something quite as much as you thought you did, and that will force you to fix that as you're teaching it to other people. And then you'll have this added benefit of like, helping the community. And then that will ultimately bring attention to whatever you're doing. So I would definitely recommend that as the follow-up step.
Yeah, that was awesome. Great advice there, man. Mind if I run through fast news real quick as we close it out?
Yeah, we'll do some fast news and we'll close it out for today.
Okay, that is awesome. So fast news, guys. So Slim Jim's looking to make NFTs. They've trademarked Slim Jim, a Metaverse, and Long Boy Gang. The Romanian central bank has partnered with the Elrond network, and this could be a bridge for traditional TradFi and crypto. Magic Eden has taken 95% of the share of the Solana NFT market. It's quite wild. Everyone's favorite evil, Goldman Sachs is offering an ETH fund. Non-fungible.com is reporting that the total NFT volume is topped 17.6 billion. U.S. inflation rate has, of course, increased to 7.9%. It's a 40-year
Yeah, I
high.
saw that.
Sad
Yeah.
boy. Optimism has planned to reduce costs by 30 to 40% using call data compression. And more than 10 million ETH have been staked in ETH 2.0.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Pretty wild stuff.
That's a huge milestone for the Ethereum space. Okay. Well, that's awesome. Everybody, if you got anything that you want to add to quick news or talk about in our live streams, just ping Walshing on Twitter. You can see his Twitter handle there. That's all we got for today. As always, smash that like button down below. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Daily updates videos out, so more people learn about blockchain. And if you're as fascinated with this technology as I am, you want to get your hands dirty, how can you get started today? Well, you can go to my YouTube homepage, like I was telling these people before. There's a big pinned video there, how to become a highly paid blockchain developer in 2022. You can also see my free courses there. They're on a playlist on my YouTube homepage. They're like Udemy courses, but they're totally free. And if you like those and you want to take the next step, or hey, maybe you want to take a master's shortcut entirely, actually become a blockchain master step-by-step start to finish over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. You don't have to be an expert to get started today. I thought people with zero coding experience become real-world blockchain developers in a matter of months. So that's all I've got. And until next time, thanks for watching Dapp University.